Trust in two directions. I had no hope. We never follow instinct. We just don't understand a different situation. We've lost our land. My heart's in limbo. Your heart's in limbo. With everybody else, I think that you should learn to love yourself. The man that you love most, the man that brought you here, he's always in your memory, he's always here. My heart's in limbo. Your heart's in limbo. Your heart's in limbo. My heart's in limbo. Your heart's in limbo.
Welcome to another edition of, hold on a second. Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. I am back, and I hope everybody's doing well today. And I do not know why I'm faded like a ghost, but let's see what we can do here. Whatever's causing me to fade away like a ghost. It is close to October. Spooky, spooky, spooky. Ooh. Yeah, I know. Anyhow, I decided to put a little bit of, just a tiny bit of humor to start off the show on a rather a rather dark subject matter. And the thing about it is, as we all know, just a few days ago, half a week ago at this point, uh, Charlie Kirk, the founder of Turning Points USA, was eliminated, shall we say, permanent on a permanent basis uh, from humanity in Utah, and and the reaction from from the far right, and I want to make this clear that I never ever take delight in the death of anybody, no matter how much I disagree with them. So, um, uh, the thing is, okay, Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and I do not condone political violence in the least. And I don't know any leftists that sat there popping champagne corks saying, "Oh, that's so awesome." I don't know one that said it, but according to the right, everybody on the left, no exceptions, they all celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk and acted like Charlie Kirk was some good person. Well, here's my take. On a human to human level, I don't like to see people die in any way, shape, or form of natural causes or political violence or by car accidentally plummeting over a person. No matter what circumstances, I do not like anybody being permanently removed. Um, I don't think political violence is the answer. It's just my take. I know people, but people will project. And I spent the last several days on Facebook with some conservative friends putting words in my mouth that weren't there. Putting words in my mouth that weren't there. And I'm going to tell you, I'm saying this. I still don't take delight over the elimination, shall we say, of Charlie Kirk. However, a big old giant, however, is that the right wing, who are now threatening the left and demanding the left to suck off the legacy of Charlie Kirk as if, oh my, he was such a good person. No, he wasn't. It's a piece of shit. I actually hate the motherfucker now more than he did when he was alive. And when he was alive, I hardly ever thought about Charlie Kirk. But we're going to talk about Charlie Kirk today. We're going to talk about people's reactions and how much I agree and disagree. And we'll start with, I would say, we'll start it with some levity, because levity is a great healer. So this is from The Amazing Atheist. I don't play a lot of Amazing Atheists here because I think he's funny as shit. I've been listening to The Amazing Atheist since 2008. And this is what he had to say about Charlie Kirk's, I would say, meeting his maker, pushing the daisies, kicking the bucket. In a paraphrase, John Cleese in the Parrot sketch, he's an ex-right-wing influencer, referring to Charlie Kirk. Here goes.
Let me tell you something, the left. When all of you got together and decided as a collective to murder poor innocent Charlie Kirk, you done made a mistake, boy. You done made you a terrible, fatal error. And there will be recompense. Oh, yeah. You don't know what's coming. You thought because we on the right have been such demure little sweethearts to you all this time that we was just gonna take you killing poor, innocent, saintly Charlie Kirk. You thought we was gonna take that in stride, didn't you? Well, you was wrong. Because there's a storm a-coming. Hey, it's gonna be civil war. And we got all the guns. Well, I guess you had that one gun you used to kill Charlie Kirk, but I'm pretty sure that's the only gun you got. And now, nothing can prepare you for what's coming. Let me tell you something, the left. When all of you got together and decided as a collective to murder poor innocent Charlie Kirk, you done made a mistake, boy. You done made you a terrible, fatal error. And there will be recompense. Oh, yeah. You know, you don't know what's coming. You thought because we on the right have been such demure little sweethearts to you all this time.
Yeah, I forgot it was on loop there. So that's basically the Amazing Atheist talking about the late Charlie Kirk. And I will be playing some more for the Amazing Atheist shortly. But what I am also going to do, it just occurred to me, is I'm going to read you a blog from a friend of the Willie Bragg Show, of course, friend of the Willie Bragg Show. And she's been a guest several times. Really, really cool person. And let me see if we can find that let me find that link right there. As soon as I do, we'll get right to it. So anyway, and I'm referring to, of course, Angie Moon, who lives in England. She's an American who lives in England. She's a blogger. She's a writer. She's an author, and she's also a socialist. And I own one of her books already. And she's working on another right now. So let me go ahead and find that what we call it, the right here it is. Hold on, scrolling it back up. Hold on, here we go. Here we go. Found it right there for y'all, for your listening pleasure. So let me get it on the screen for you, and we will get started. Okay. Bum. Is that it? That is it. Well, imagine that. This is from Angie Moon. As I said, Angie Moon, who is an American who lives in the UK, writer, author, blogger. And the name of her blog is The Diversity of Classic Rock by Angie Moon. And she comments on his death. So, with no further ado, we'll get started, shall we not? So, let me go ahead and do this. I found it. So, and I just got to go and do this here. I'm my own producer. As I was telling the guys from Rest State Update last week, I am my own producer. And where did you go? That's not it. Oh, here we go. There we go. Now we got it. I told you we will get it. Okay, this is The Diversity of Classic Rock by Angie Moon. That's her blog. So I'll get started with the blog here. And it says here, on Charlie Kirk and political violence. What writing about true crime has taught me about the news. Or let's talk about Charlie Kirk. And this is from December. Excuse me. Sorry. This is the way they post it in England. September 12th, 2025. 2 days ago, I heard the news about far-right political commentator Charlie Kirk being shot in the neck at a debate event he was holding at the Utah Valley University. My friend and I were messaging each other on Facebook, and all of a sudden, he told me that Charlie Kirk was shot. I was on my divan researching and writing for my next true crime book, all about celebrity trials. I was like, oh, come on. This got to be, is this some South Park episode? But I went on social media and I saw the video of the bullet going right through his neck, blood gushing out everywhere. It was like something straight out of a horror movie. I thought this had to be AI, but no, this was real. The poor audience are going to have PTSD from this, and Charlie Kirk's wife will no doubt have PTSD from this too. I've had PTSD from traumatic things that's happened to me as a teenager, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. As the zombies described in Butcher's Tale, I can't stop shaking. My hands won't stop shaking. My arms won't stop shaking. My mind won't stop shaking. He's referring to the Zombies, a group from the 1960s in England. Just hours before Netanyahu and Trump announced the death of Charlie Kirk, the same day, just one state over, there was a school shooting in Evergreen High School in Colorado. The shooter is dead. 3 students were injured, and no doubt that many others are traumatized. All social media and I saw outpourings and grief for Kirk, but none of the innocent children in Colorado or the civilians in Gaza. It really made me think of a lot that I have thought about to unpack. Some people bring happiness wherever they go. I do not celebrate the death of Charlie Kirk, and I do not condone any political violence of any sort. However, I will not shed a tear for Charlie Kirk. Neither will I. A man who hated people like me. I do not use the word Nazi lightly, but his views are aligned very closely with the Nazis, as you'll see in the links in the next paragraph. There are people calling him a moderate and just some guy, but if he was just some guy, he certainly wouldn't have had his body in a casket flown back to the home in the vice president's plane. As I said earlier in the blog post, my great-grandfather, Abraham, age 78, his wife, 3 of his daughters were killed by the Nazis in 1940 when they raided their town. I would not mourn the death of people whose ideologies caused so much harm to not just Jewish people, but also the LGBTQ people, immigrants, women, and non-white and mixed people. If you're not part of those groups, I kindly request that you do not tone police people who are directly affected by such hateful rhetoric. I don't expect a black person to mourn a Klansman death or a trans person to mourn a transphobe's death. These are not views of a moderate. If you think prejudice is moderate politics, then it's a clear sign that the open window has shifted so far to the right that we're cooked. If Charlie Kirk was a moderate, what's the far right winger then? If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Stop falling for civility politics. Hatefulness is not just shouting and waving your arms around like Hitler. It can also be said in a calm voice and with a smile. Just like racists aren't people who are people in Ku Klux Klan hoods. They're also ordinary people in your community. Making bigots into cartoon villains helps no one. Just like portraying all murderers as cartoon villains helps no one. I've been into true crime for over 20 years, and I know very well what most dangerous people are the ones you never expect. They're often the most ordinary, even charming people. Charlie Kirk was not someone who brought joy. He brought hatred, division, and intolerance wherever he went. His rhetoric only made the world more divisive and hateful. This is not someone who idealized or mourned. Remember, and I love this quote right here. Remember this quote that she says. I've been quoting the hell out of you, Angie. Remember, he was the one who said that he hated empathy and thought it was a made-up New Age term. By not showing him empathy, you're respecting his wishes. Not enough to convince you? Remember what he said about George Floyd, and he made some derogatory remarks about George Floyd. You get what you get the you get what you put in out into the world. If you're truly a bad person, why do you expect people to be kind to you and call you an angel when you die? Let's actually be honest. Not all who die are angels. Some people are bad. That's reality. It costs nothing to be kind and it makes the world a better place. In a nutshell, what I think Charlie Kirk's death is it could have been prevented if we had gun control. Call me a Eurocock, but that's the truth. I want gun control not just to protect my loved ones, but also everyone. How can anyone accuse me, a socialist, of being violent? I don't even eat meat or animal products, so how can I be violent? She's a vegan, by the way. She takes vegetarianism very seriously. The truth is rarely pure and never simple, or why I hate the 24 news cycle. One of the problems with the coverage of the shooting of Charlie Kirk is that 24-hour news cycle, a phenomenon that exists for decades thanks to cable TV, but it has gotten only worse thanks to the internet and social media. It is something I'll be covering in the book I'm working on. The news never sleeps, and it's just as much a race to the bottom as it is a race to break the story first. These two races go hand in hand. The race to break the story first means that we don't have all the facts and we make quick judgments and jump to conclusions. I know that feeling, which is really bad and dangerous in serious situations like this. The quality of journalism suffers and pays, being a stagnant and dwindling contributes to this. I've seen innocent people be accused of shooting Charlie Kirk, their faces shown to the world before his body counts. There are a lot of wackos out there who knows what that irresponsible reporting could do to these innocent people. What if someone wanted to avenge Charlie Kirk and they kill the innocent guy? First off, nothing can bring someone who's dead, which is the main reason I'm against the death penalty. Second, they're innocent, so congratulations, you created another victim. There have already been threats against HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, and where all the right wingers are calling that out. I have a master's in journalism, and I can confidently say that there's a lot within the 24-hour news cycle. It's been a disaster for our society and only increased division. It's important to wait for the facts before coming to conclusions about something to remember, and there's almost always more to the story than the news is telling us. Not everyone's voice is being heard. As always, follow the money. And there's more she says about it, but you get the idea. And she provides moral clarity is basically what I'm saying. And if I can think about it, either now when I'm finished with this video tonight or tomorrow, I will add her link to the in the description box. I can be a little lazy by that description box, but it will be there no later, hopefully, than tomorrow afternoon. So there is that. So anyway, that's Angie Moon's take on that's Angie Moon's take on the shooting of Charlie Kirk. So what I'm also going to do is speaking of social influencers, and I know he can be a bit shit-libby at times, but I still think he provides a very good take on a lot of matters. And I'm referring to Fair and Balance from Ring of Fire, who also hosts Fair and Balance. So here's what he has to say.
This is certainly not the video that I thought I was going to be making this morning. After the events of yesterday, combined with a lot of personal things involving family, involving friends that have happened all throughout this year, I have decided to step away from Ring of Fire for now. This was not an easy decision, and this is a decision decision that is not about leaving Ring of Fire. It's about me stepping back for a bit to try to get things figured out in my head. Things I need to reprioritize, things I need to reevaluate. You know, what is my future going to be? It is kind of where I'm at right now. And I will admit a lot of this obviously comes from the events of yesterday, events that I absolutely condemn wholeheartedly. I made that abundantly clear on social media, and it was terrifying. It was, in fact, a tragedy. But as I was processing through all of that, I saw the hate. I saw everything coming from the right, with the exception of quite literally two people that I saw on social media, and I know obviously there's more. Everybody on the left, every big person on the left was condemning this violence, offering their condolences, saying this has no place in politics. Meanwhile, on the right, what were they doing? They were calling for civil war. They were calling for retaliation. They were calling for bloodshed. And even that, okay, I'm used to that. I see it all the time. I get it in the death threats that are sent by Republicans to my home address. But then Donald Trump got on TV. And when I heard what that man had to say, when I watched him slurring his way through this due to whatever mental incompetencies he is suffering from, that nobody wanted to point out about that, when I heard him blame all of this on the left, and then go through this laundry list of all the left's violence, while not once mentioning the lawmakers in Minnesota that were slaughtered because they were Democrats. The attack on Paul Pelosi, which his son, Don Jr., mocked relentlessly on social media. He didn't mention that. He didn't mention Gabby Giffords. He didn't mention the Capitol riot. He mentioned, the threats against our judges and law enforcement, but he didn't stop to say who those threats were coming from. Because the threats to our law enforcement were from the people that were locked away for participating in the Capitol riot that he left back on our streets. The threats against the judges and the prosecutors, those were his people. The lunatic who loaded up a van several years ago during his first term with explosives and weapons to go and kill everyone at CNN because Trump called them the enemy of the people, he didn't mention that. There is hatred that comes from the left. And I'll admit, I'm probably a part of it. But you know what that hatred is? It's not hatred towards people. It's hatred towards this ideology that is driving us to fascism. And
I want to comment on what he says there. Yeah, I will sometimes use the term hate to describe things that I find objectionable from the other side. Does not mean I hate them personally. They might even be a nice person. I know conservatives, I know individual conservatives who are wrong on a lot of issues who I don't have a beef against. But I'm referring to this constant punching down left. And that's what he's referring to. This constant, perpetual punching down against everything left. And some of us on the left are a little on edge. To have these right-wing people saying, we're going to go after you, it's civil war against the left. And then they're like, and you better be nice to the legacy of Charlie Kirk. It's kind of like, well, fuck you. You're going to go punch us and then expect us to go all meek and humble and say, oh, he was such a nice person as this, and then the right just punch us some more? Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And that's how it feels to be on the left today. It feels like we're constantly punched down. Talk radio, Rush Limbaugh, and all the people after Rush Limbaugh to this day, his fat ass, starting in the late 80s, early 1990s, spawned hundreds of talented nobodies and perpetuate them into fame and fortune, spewing bullshit, evil ideas. And yes, I use those words correctly. Evil ideas. Union busting. Basically propagandizing against universal health care. Talking about their campaign to keep LGBTQ people in the closet. They're drumming always for wars. in other countries. Their policies that favor the wealthy and powerful, their dismissal of people who are disenfranchised. It's a cruel ideology. And that's why many of us on the left are so critical of conservatism and its uglier cousin, the far, far, far right. And it's a spectrum. Not all conservatives think the same. Not all people on the far right thinks the same. But to hear it from some of these people on the right, every liberal, every leftist, they all think alike. There's obviously no difference between Nancy Pelosi and Kashama Sawant in these people's eyes. And so we're constantly beaten down by talk radio, Fox News, Newsmax, One American News Network, TV evangelical preachers screaming at people, PragerU, the Daily Wire, all this bullshit out there. There's constantly telling people the left is evil, the left is evil, the left is evil, the left is evil. And so people have their minds poisoned about what it means to be the left. And I got news for people. There's no real left in this country. The Democratic Party is to the right of most conservative parties around the world. And that is the honest truth, which, you tell people that here in this country, oh, how can you say the Democrats are conservative? It's because the Democrats are conservative. They're too conservative for me. So anyhow, we'll let a fair and cousin.
Calling somebody a fascist, calling them a Nazi, as Trump said, that's what got Charlie Kirk killed. No. Calling somebody those names does not get them killed. You know what gets people killed? When you stand in front of a crowd of several thousand on January 6, 2021, telling the crowd, go fight like hell. That got people killed. Calling people enemies of the state. That gets them killed. All the names you have called these people to your mentally insecure base has resulted in constant death threats. And in many instances, actual deaths. But you never once spoke a word of remorse for any of that. When Heather Heyer died, when those neo-Nazis went marching on Charlottesville, what was your response? There were good people on both sides. The left is not responsible for hatred and violence. Individuals commit acts of violence. The only common thread between all of these events, as usual, is guns. Because at the same time the tragedy was unfolding with Charlie Kirk in Utah, we also had a school shooting, 3 people shot in Colorado. Trump didn't mention that in his address last night, now did he? I could go on and on and on and on forever. I could talk about the fact that many years ago, before Donald Trump even dreamed of entering politics, there were books coming out from right-wing hate mongers. One of them titled, Liberalism is a Mental Disease, or a Mental Illness. We didn't have books on the left coming out like that, now did we? Hatred and division has always had a home within the Republican Party. And then the second something horrible happens to them, and yes, it's horrible. Again, I condemn it. I condemn the shooter, who, by the way, we still, as of this recording, don't even know who this person is, because the cross-eyed little fuckwit that Donald Trump has running the FBI can't even catch a person.
Not only that, the person that was caught and arrested was a right-wing Republican type, just like the would-be assassin against Trump last year. And, but to hear it from some people, it's Antifa, it's Black Lives Matter, it's trans people, it's liberals, as if Nancy Pelosi made the phone call to go and do these things. And that's what some people would imply. The fuckwit that with the cowboy hat named Wild Bill for America believed that the January 6th insurrection was done by Black Lives Matter and Antifa, being disguised as Trump supporters just to make them all look bad. And I hate to break it to Wild Bill for America. The people that he loves and adores don't need to be made to look bad. They're doing a good job as it is, looking bad on their own because they're bad people. Just like Wild Bill for America is a bad person and all these other right-wing influencers. I am a free speech absolutist. I think they have a right to preach their bullshit garbage. But I get tone police by some because I wouldn't shed a tear for Charlie Kirk. I want to make this clear. I hate Charlie Kirk now, more now than I did when his worthless ass was alive. The words of Jen Perlman. She said Charlie Kirk's life was a net negative. You know what? I agree with Jen Perlman. And that's the thing right there. You know, I condemn all political violence. I'm a pacifist. I oppose the death penalty. I oppose all war. I oppose torture. I oppose these stupid ass prisons in El Salvador and opening, aggressively using Guantanamo Bay when that should be shut down. I'm a pacifist. I want the United States to stop bullying other countries, especially countries that are not bothering us. Cuba is not bothering us. Venezuela is not bothering us. Stop harassing Venezuela. Stop harassing Cuba. Stop it with these sanctions at will. And stop creating a migration crisis by making life so horrible that's going to cause people to want to come here and to threaten countries to take over, taking over Greenland and all that. I mean, the violence of rhetoric there. And, the left is not about violence. Yeah, you got some people who are a little over the top on the college campuses with the purple hair, but even that's getting old. For about 5 minutes, 10 years ago, maybe the conservatives were correct about the left being upset over video games with a sexy woman with a big bust and a nice ass. Why are these feminists, the cringiest of the feminists? There's nothing wrong with feminism. Why they're declaring a war against women with nice breasts and a nice ass or what have you. Okay, you got a point there. Or around Halloween, kids dressing up in cultural costumes of other people, which is fairly benign. And in most cases, not even all that racist, to the point where people from those groups don't even mind them doing that. Again, for about 5 minutes, the conservatives might have had a point. But then they get all upset about Minnie Mouse dressed up in a female pantsuit and a black mermaid and a Hispanic Snow White who looks like AOC. I mean, this is what they get mad about. And then they claim they're for free speech, as they are the first to silence their political opponents, which there is a Charlie Kirk connection to this. And this is from a couple of years ago. It is an old Kyle Klinsky video, and I know, but this is dark hair Kyle Klinsky when he was edgy before, I'm sorry to say, before Crystal Ball cut the hell out of him. So just keep that in mind right here. I'll play it and share some more thoughts in a second.
Shoe on Head went to the TPUSA conference. Of course, that's the right-wing conference with, Charlie Kirk and all these weirdos. So there's this thing there called the free speech ball. And the idea was, hey, we believe in free speech, unlike these dumb lefties. And so we're going to let you come and write whatever you want on this ball. Anything's allowed. Anything. So I want to show you what she wrote on it. She wrote, I like how it's in a much bolder marker than everything else. Socialism rocks. You got other weird stuff there. Horns down. California. There's a Let's Go Brandon thing that she's kind of writing over a little bit. There's one that says like porn kills or something. Porn, I can't read it. It's too small and too far away. A lot of weird stuff. I do find it funny that being able to write anything and they still write Let's Go Brandon. So here's what happened to Socialism Rocks that was put on the free speech ball. You could see like the slight outline there, but it was erased and then colored over. Erased and then colored over. So on the free speech ball, the one thing that the right-wingers were not comfortable leaving up was Socialism Rocks. I don't think the people who erased that thought through the implications of what they were doing. I don't think they understand that you just unmasked yourselves, you dipshits. That's what you just did. You just let everybody know, I don't actually believe in free speech. I don't want the left to be the censors. I want to be the censor. I want to be the one to control the speech. That's what I mean by free speech. I get to speak and you don't. Well, thank you for verifying everything we've ever said on this issue from day one. This reminds me of remember the Mike Lindell free speech platform? He's it's going to compete with Twitter, and it's the free speech version of Twitter. And in the same breath, Homeboy was like, we're all about free speech, and on our platform, we don't allow cursing, taking the Lord's name in vain, slurs, pornography, and he had like a laundry list of stuff that you can't say any of this, but we believe in free speech. A lot of those things fall squarely into the domain of free speech.
Yeah. When the right wing maybe tacitly might have been correct about certain liberals and leftists during the post 9/11 era, going out of their way 100% shielding every aspect of Islam for the actions of a couple of fanatics. And it got to the point where it was a little bit on the ridiculous side. The conservatives were correct. But then all of a sudden, if you criticize Israel, you're an anti-Semite, you're anti-Jewish, and all this sort of things. It's like, well, what makes you different from the little blue hair and pink hair kids saying you're an Islamophobe if you condemn a small cell or a group of people who are committing gross acts of evil in the name of their religion? And you have these far-right Christian Zionist neocons doing the same thing for their cause. Well, what makes that difference? But they want to go and they want to silence and make sure you don't dare criticize Israel. Listen, we might let you criticize Russia. We might let you criticize Norway. We might let you criticize Denmark and Canada and all these other countries in the world. But you better not criticize Israel, which God personally founded the country itself in 1948. And it's just like, no, you're acting like the snowflakes that you constantly criticize. So much so that they're putting out, like Congresswoman Lauren Boebert put out legislation that just passed the U.S. House, and I hope the Supreme Court declares it unconstitutional, or I hope the U.S. Senate somehow says you can't do that, whereby, the BDS campaigns will be criminalized throughout the entire country. And this is what they've been wanting, and that's censorship. And I believe that Charlie Kirk was in favor of that legislation. I know Ben Shapiro and other right-wing influencers are as well. So my point is, it all ties in what I've been saying, free speech and all this sort of thing. And these people are hypocrites, absolute hypocrites at the end of the day. So I wanted to point that out now, and not that I'm saying that my observations are more brilliant than anybody else, but just in case that point was never considered before, it could be used. It could be used to take on the right when they try to go and after us and all of that. So I had no use for Charlie Kirk. Again, Charlie Kirk, as far as I'm concerned, I will play you one more video from Charlie Kirk. I forgot. We'd be remiss if I didn't do this. So this is from Nick from RBN, Revolutionary Blackout Network. And I always like to listen to what Nick has to say. So let's mosey along and listen to what he's got to say. Give me a moment and we will find that clip, because I thought it was pretty damn brilliant. Yeah, right here we go. So we're going to
white on white violence.
All right. We got it all set up. We sure do. Okay, Nick, you go ahead and take it away, because we're listening.
Charlie Kirk, unfortunately, is another victim of white on white violence. But don't worry, he died doing what he loved, trying to start a race war and supporting a genocide.
Hamas uses the kids as human shields on top of their military bases. It's called Judea and Samaria. It's not called Palestine.
You don't believe that Palestine has the right to exist?
No, everyone has a right to exist. Show me where it is. It's a non-existent place. I don't think the place exists.
What?
Because it doesn't. It's called Judea and Samaria. It's not called Palestine. There is no starvation in Gaza.
The war started because 1,300 Jews were killed and 200 were taken hostage. And when you declare war on Israel, expect a firestorm in reaction. Hamas started the war. And I don't see people that were really upset about the 2 million Germans that were killed in World War II, civilians. A tragic truth of war is that civilians die. I don't like it, and you don't like it. And they brought it upon themselves.
And so civilians are going to die, and that is a tragedy. And Hamas brought this upon themselves.
What happened to Charlie Kirk is exactly what he supports Israel doing to Palestinians in Gaza, where they are murdering over 100 Palestinians per day. Violence has no place in America. Save that shit for the brown kids we kill overseas. Supporting a genocide is not a simple political disagreement. So I'm going to show Charlie Kirk the same respect and death that he showed George Floyd, who he wouldn't allow to rest in peace. The same right-wing scum who shared memes of George Floyd dying are now expecting us to show respect for their dead Nazis. These people are such shameless hypocrites, but Black Twitter is not letting them off the hook. Not only did Charlie Kirk monetize the death of George Floyd and called him a scumbag, he even attacked MLK. This man released an entire video series demonizing and attacking MLK. Meanwhile, we're supposed to show him grace? The grace that he never showed us?
Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, you would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Now, we know you do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. This shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad. It was evil. But what happened? Something changed. They committed less crimes.
Maybe they were afraid. I mean, 4,000 Black men, women, and children were killed in violent lynch mobs.
That's your explanation. But
racial terror permeated American culture for hundreds of years.
Black America is worse than it has been.
That affected
in the last 80 years.
The generational psyche of an entire group of people?
Well, I'm sure it did. I'm not discounting that. We note in our piece that Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. Why does Kirk believe passing the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Now, again, apparently they don't listen to the show because we do that at least once a week, right? Once a week we talk about why the Civil Rights Act was a mistake.
This motherfucker spent the last few weeks of his life trying to start a race war between Black Americans and white Americans. Meanwhile, we are supposed to mourn this scumbag. Now white America is trying to rehabilitate the image of this racist scumbag and paint him as a hero. We absolutely cannot allow that to happen.
Welcome to hell, motherfucker!
I can't stand the word empathy. Actually, I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that does a lot of damage.
Okay, that was Nick Nick Cruz from Revolutionary Blackout saying what he needed to say in regard to Charlie Kirk, and pretty much in agreement with that. I will play some other videos, but time is limiting me, so I'll be making my closing remarks. But before I do, I'll go and say hello to everybody here. How are you doing, Earl of Laurel? I hope you're doing well. Great seeing you here. Somebody, a fellow North Carolinian, well, lives in North Carolina anyway. They have already privatized society with social media. That's the norm, and now they want to make sure it can't be used as a tool of dissent. And that is so true, because I have to go monitor my words carefully, or I could get shut down. I've been in trouble here on YouTube and Twitter before, and on Facebook, so I know. Let's see. How are you doing today, Peace Dub? Let's see. My text taking down. What about your text being taken down? You say, I don't know if you said anything about it earlier. And Desert Mantis, how are you doing today? All right. And we have CBC voters. I see on YouTube I had to go change the quality. Apparently I was having streaming issues and all of that. So Daniel Berry Sports and Highlights, how are you doing today? And I don't want to make sure I don't miss anyone here. So I think that takes care of pretty much everything and everyone here. I will say this. Again, I do not care for Charlie Kirk. Never did. I never really thought about Toilet Paper USA that much, nor did I think about Charlie Kirk. And as soon as I get over my little anger fit right now, since people are demanding that I go and suck off the late Charlie Kirk, I want to make it clear. Don't condone political violence, but I hate the motherfucker now more now than he did when he was alive. So, fuck Charlie Kirk and fuck Toilet Paper USA. So, if you like what you heard, please press like and comment. Comment if you disagree with what I have to say. Feel free to share the contents on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it because we're the muckrakers of our time. Reject corporate media. Please subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show on all my platforms. We're getting close to 1,000, so please help a brother out. And remember to let's go and struggle to have Ed Snowden freed and pardoned fully. Free Palestine, free healthcare for all, free speech, and of course, a final for Charlie Kirk himself, a final fuck you, Charlie Kirk, fuck Charlie Kirk. So everybody, y'all have a great night, and I'll be back soon. Hold tight.